The Dolphins cannot have another failed linebacker experiment. With high expectations going into the 2017 NFL season, one of the things that the Miami Dolphins cannot afford to have happen is Lawrence Timmons fail them. There has been a lot of speculation of why the Pittsburgh Steelers let the longtime productive linebacker go. One of the things that Lawrence Timmons struggled with in the 2016 NFL season is in coverage. He really struggled in zone coverage. One of the most notable games Lawrence Timmons struggled in coverage was against the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots absolutely abused him in the quick passing game. Lawrence Timmons is coming into a Dolphins linebacker unit that struggled to stop tight ends last season. The Dolphins gave up the most touchdowns to tight ends last season. They're really hoping that Lawrence Timmons can come in and fix that problem, but there are huge question marks whether he can do that or not. Thank God that the Miami Dolphins drafted Raekwon McMillan, who also has question marks in coverage. So the Dolphins are really banking on these moves working in the 2017 NFL season. They cannot afford to have another Carlos Dansby, Kevin Burnett, Philip Wheeler, Darnell Ellerby situation on their hands. While I think Lawrence Timmons is going to come in and help us in the run game, it's the passing game that I am the most worried about. The Miami Dolphins cannot afford to let Damian Williams walk. More underrated elements to the Miami Dolphins making the playoffs in the 2016 NFL season is Damian Williams. All he did was make plays. He's one of the more elusive runners in the NFL. Not only that, but he made big plays in AFC East divisional games. Damian Williams was just an absolute Swiss Army knife in an Adam Gase offense. He just made touchdown after touchdown, made big play after big play. The most notable play probably is the touchdown against the San Diego Chargers. We actually had two touchdowns, one rushing touchdown and one huge receiving touchdown on third down. He also made big plays against the Buffalo Bills in both games. J.J. gets he gets a lot of credit for both of those games, obviously, but Damian Williams, if it wasn't for Damian Williams, we might not win both of those games. So the Miami Dolphins need to bring him back. He was a huge part of this offseason last season. He's only going to get better in an Adam Gase offense. He made huge, like I said, he made huge plays all over the football field. He is a Swiss Army knife, and he is very valuable to the Miami Dolphins offense. The Miami Dolphins safety position is a huge question mark going into the 2017 NFL season. One of the biggest question marks and the biggest holes on the Miami Dolphins roster is the safety position. Now, I've talked about this a lot. I talked about this when I graded the Miami Dolphins 2017 NFL draft class. They failed to go out and get a safety, and I think it's one of the most underrated needs that the Miami Dolphins have. I do not have faith in Nate Allen. I do not think Nate Allen is a good against the run. I don't think Nate Allen is good against the run at all. I don't think he's good in coverage. The Raiders' defense last season, especially their secondary, was atrocious. You saw what they did in this past draft, excuse me. They went out and they got Obi Milanofalu, and they got Garyon Conley in the first round. Even the Raiders know that they needed to upgrade their secondary. Nate Allen was a part of a bad secondary. Nate Allen is not the answer for the safety position. That's why the Dolphins went out and they got TJ McDonald, but they're going to be without him for the first 8 games of the season. I do not have faith in Nate Allen. I think Nate Allen is an NFL journeyman. I think he's a stopgap player, like a Jason Jones type of a guy. He just comes in a bad football team and fills the need until they can replace him. Nate Allen is an NFL journeyman. Adam Gase has a lot of faith in him. So hopefully Adam is right and I am wrong. But I do not have a lot of faith in Nate Allen. And the Dolphins are really hoping he can step up for 8 games in the NFL season. The Miami Dolphins need to improve their red zone woes. The Miami Dolphins are in the middle of the pack in red zone scoring percentage. They are 14th in the NFL in red zone scoring percentage. So that's not terrible, but the Miami Dolphins had a lot of opportunities that they missed last season. If the Dolphins want to keep up and be one of the most elite offenses in the NFL, they need to score in the red zone. The Miami Dolphins would have won a whole lot more games last season if they just finished the deal. The Dolphins, not only did they not finish in the red zone, but they would get into the opposition's territory a lot last season, and they would find themselves going the other way. The Miami Dolphins really need to improve in this area. One of the biggest reasons why the Dolphins failed to do that last season was because of the tight end position. The Miami Dolphins were going through a lot in their tight end position. They were playing with players like Dominique Jones, Marquise Gray. Obviously, Jordan Cameron was out for most of the year last year. But the Dolphins have made improvements in this area. They have went out and got Leonte Carroo. They have went out and got that we've had Leonte Carroo, but they went out and they got Julius Thomas. We obviously got a steal on the draft in Isaiah Ford, who I think could potentially help us in this area. Really hurt themselves and shot themselves in the foot in the red zone, whether that be dumb penalties, holding calls, whatever it might be. The Miami Dolphins need to improve. Devontae Parker needs to step up and be the guy that we always thought he was going to be, that big, tall receiver on these fade routes. We really need him to become that. So the Miami Dolphins really need to improve in the red zone to become an elite offense. The Miami Dolphins cannot afford another unhealthy season. Now, the reason I say this is because when you look at our linebacker depth, it's basically the same depth that we had last season. So if somebody got hurt, we got a major injury there. We don't know where everybody's going to play. We did draft Raekwon McMillan, but he's more of a middle linebacker. He could start on the outside, but I would rather him start in the middle. So if we took a major injury on the outside linebacker spot, we're basically in the same spot we were last season. Same thing with the safety position. If Rashard Jones gets hurt, it's basically the same year that we had last season. If you look at the tight end position, the reason I was so critical of the Julius Thomas trade is because the man's made of glass. So if Julius Thomas gets hurt this upcoming year, not only did we just trade draft picks away that we could have used to improve the defense, but we did a tremendous job of what we had in this last draft. We really improved the defense. So we got steals, but we could have got even more steals. And one of the biggest criticisms I had with the Julius Thomas thing is with his health. So if Julius Thomas gets hurt, our tight ends basically the same thing we had last season, and then it's going to continue in the red zone. We're going to have continued struggles in the red zone. We're asking a lot of Tannehill. Tannehill's really not had a number one tight end his whole career. Charles Clay was never really healthy. So health is a huge concern. So hopefully we can stay relatively healthy throughout the whole offseason. So let me know what you guys dread and wish will not happen this upcoming season. What do you guys wish to not see again, a repeat of last season? Where do you think the Dolphins need to improve the most? Let me know down in the comment section below. And I am Skagster1083, and I will see you guys in the next one.